Welcome back to TransGuyReacts. My name is Nik and I make videos about women's basketball, collegiate or professional. And today I'm going to talk about the WNBA games for Sunday, June 30th. And I have a lot to say. There were 3 games on today and they were interesting. So the first game was the Atlanta Dream versus the New York Liberty. That game was on ESPN. In the first quarter, the Atlanta Dream was kicking Liberty's ass, like kicking their ass. But in Liberty fashion, they do come back for the rest of the game. The second, the third, the fourth quarter, they came back. But it was close. It wasn't a complete blowout. But the Liberty did end up winning in the end, and the game score was 81-75. So Atlanta Dream only lost by 6 points, so not terrible. Wasn't a blowout, but just not enough. For the Atlanta Dream, Alicia Gray had 24 points. Tina Charles had 16 points, 12 rebounds. I mean, she always has a double-double. Jordan Canada had 9 points, 9 assists, almost had a double-double. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus had 12 points. Ryan Howard was not in the game, and neither was Ariel Powers. Both are still... I knew Ryan was out with the injury. I didn't know Ariel Powers had an injury. For the New York Liberty, Benijah Laney Hamilton had 18 points. Brianna Stewart had 22 points, 12 rebounds for a double-double. That's not surprising. Sabrina Ionescu only had 10 points, kind of a quiet night for her. And Leonie Fibich had 12 points. Courtney Vandersloot came back. She had 7 points and 7 assists, so not too bad for her. But, it's basically Brianna Stewart and Benijah Laney Hamilton killing it for them in that game. Then there were 2 games going on at the same time. The Minnesota Lynx versus the Chicago Sky going on, and then the Indiana Fever versus the Mercury. The Lynx versus the Sky was on ESPN, and the Fever versus the Mercury was on ESPN. ESPN 3 was Lynx versus the Sky, and ESPN, the number 1, was on Fever and Mercury. So I was watching both of them at the same time. I had 2 windows open. Things to note about the Lynx versus Sky game: Teresa Witherspoon was wearing an all-white suit and shoes to match with black accents. She was looking great. And then the whole coaching staff for the Sky were wearing like white shirts and kind of like dark pants. They look really good. Also for the Minnesota Lynx, Diamond Miller was back from her injury, so it's good to see her on the court. But yeah, so in the beginning of that game, Chicago Sky was actually killing the Lynx in the beginning of the first quarter, but of course the Lynx came back, and it was close in the first half. Diamond Miller, not Diamond Miller, Diamond DeShields. There were 2 diamonds in the game, one on each team. Diamond DeShields got 3 fouls in the second quarter, and the third one was really BS. These refs, oh my god, they're just not good. We all know this. They're not consistent. They're not calling the right calls. It was quite annoying. There was a point in the game where they show Angel Reese's mom in the crowd, and then they cut to Angel, and they are like making the exact same face, which was pretty funny. They're like spitting image of each other. It really reminds me of that one time where Kalani Brown was at the free throw line in a game and she missed it, and she does this like head tilt thing, and they cut to her mom who was in the crowd, and her mom literally did the same thing. It was so funny. I was like, oh, like mother like daughter. Lindsay Allen for Sky was going off in the first quarter. She was really the reason why they were able to kind of keep it pretty even with them. And the Sky kind of had a lead most of the third quarter, so it was pretty tight, especially going into the fourth quarter. It was super tight. It was kind of oscillating between like 1 point back and forth. Angel Reese got her she was double and triple teamed many times in the game. They know that she's a really great offensive and defensive rebounder, and they were definitely double and triple teaming her. There were lots and lots of last minute whistles in this game, a lot of over ticky-tack fouls, mostly against the Sky. So for me, I was like very irritated with the refs. It was quite annoying. The Lynx did have the lead going in with 2 minutes left. Angel then gets her 10th double-double, straight double-double in the season, first ever for a rookie, but the Sky do end up losing that game. And this game, I want to note, it started at the same time as the Fever versus Mercury game, but it ended 15 minutes before the end of the Fever game. Even though they started at the same time, there was just so much going on in that Fever game, and I will get to that. So the breakdown for the Minnesota Lynx versus the Chicago Sky: Lynx won 70-62, so not too terrible of a gap, but still Sky couldn't pull it out. Marina Mabrey had 11 points. Angel Reese had a double-double, 10 points, 16 rebounds. Amazing. Kennedy Carter had 15 points. Lindsay Allen had 13 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. But just not enough, unfortunately. And also, Elizabeth Williams is out for the season, so she's not playing right now. Minnesota Lynx. Of course, Nafisa Collier had a great night. 13 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. She had 4 steals, 3 blocks. Nafisa Collier is amazing. Alana Smith had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks. She was killing it on defense, but she had a lot of fouls. She had like 4 fouls. She was in foul trouble. Kayla McBride had 16 points, and Courtney Williams had 9 points. So just a solid outing for the Minnesota Lynx in this game. Now let's talk about the much hyped Indiana Fever versus the Phoenix Mercury game. This game, like I said, is on ESPN. There's a lot of Fever fans in attendance, which I don't love. I don't like opposing fans at someone else's home game. This happens a lot with other teams too, like Asia Wilson, when she goes to play in Atlanta, there's always a lot of Asia fans. And then when Angel Reese plays at Washington Mystics, there's always a lot of Angel Reese fans. And I find it, it's low-key disrespectful. But not much you can do. This game was sold out. It was 17,000 fans. But I do want to note their last game that the Phoenix Mercury played was 14,000 fans. So it was, 3,000 fans? What was that? 15, 16, 17, yeah. 4,000 more fans. And those, I would say, a good chunk were Indiana fans. And I wouldn't even say they're Indiana fans because they're not. They're Caitlin Clark fans. They're not actually Indiana fans. So let's get that straight. So there was a lot of hype about this game before the beginning of the season because Diana Taurasi said that all rookies were going to have an adjustment period, and people took that as her hating. So this was kind of like a rivalry game, according to the media. But in reality, Diana was right. She was speaking the truth. There has been adjustment for all of the rookies, and they're figuring it out. But there was an adjustment when they came into the league. So she was not hating. She was just telling the truth. And like she said, we all go through it. She went through it. It's not that big a deal. But people want to create rivalries. The crazy thing is that Diana and Caitlin don't guard each other. So I don't know how this is like really a rivalry. Like, I think Diana only guarded her like once or twice in the game. They don't play each other like that. So whatever, the media loves drama. Also, I don't like that they were like trying to compare them as being similar. They had like the stat up. They literally had the stat on the screen saying like Clark has been to the championship game twice, but she's lost both times. And then they were comparing her to Diana Taurasi, who's been there 3 times and has won. Actually, she's been there 4 times and she's won 3 of the 4. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's not similar. The only thing that's similar about them is that they were drafted number 1. Whatever, it is what it is. And I do want to point out, I don't normally watch Fever games because of the Caitlin Clark clan, as I like to call them, and I mean all Ks, KKK, okay? She's got enough stands, and I don't need to support her, and unfortunately, I don't end up really supporting the Indiana Fever, even though I like the Fever. I like Lexi, I like Aaliyah, I like Grace Berger, but, I can't get with Clark's racist fans. It's too much for me. I can't handle it. But I did watch this because I love Diana Taurasi and I love BG. I love Brittany Griner. So, and I want to say Clark is a very good player, but she's just not exceptional. She's very easy to guard and only is good at making threes and passing the ball. She's not really consistent. She doesn't play defense and she has no other skills. So I'm just not that impressed. I think she's good. She's just not great to me. Maybe next year, once this offseason, she learns from what she's missing and she develops more, she will be great. But right now, she's just good. She's just a good player. Get to the game. The Mercury started hot, but the Fever were figuring it out and making it close going into the second quarter. Griner does get a technical foul for pushing Aaliyah Boston while guarding. You could tell she was just getting frustrated, and she just really just pushed her. She just out of nowhere. It was kind of funny too because people are really beefing with Aaliyah this year, and she's not really doing anything different than she did last year. But people are just getting more, mad at her and starting shit, and she's not backing down, which I love it. Later in the second period, the second quarter, 'Temi Fagbenle, real loud. garbage truck or something. Yeah, garbage truck's going by. Timmy Fagbenley gets fouled, and the team goes to huddle, and then both teams are like huddling next to each other. And then Erica Wheeler was starting stuff by literally she pushed Sophie, and Sophie will always push back. She will not take any, like, she'll start stuff and she will also react to things. So Sophie pushed her back because she never backs down, and then then Erica also pushes Kalia in like the same time, and then Kalia pushes back, and then Timmy starts pushing at the same time. So it's like less than a second of this happening, and then Natasha Cloud gets into it and like starts yelling at Timmy because Natasha gets hot real quick, and she was like, you're not gonna be pushing us around. The refs and the security for the teams had to get in there and break it up. It was pretty funny, but it was all talk. And this, like I said, it happened in a matter of seconds, but the yelling afterwards between them was like a good 30 seconds. Like, they broke it up and they were still yelling at each other. It was hilarious. And the thing is, I have to say, is like, Erica Wheeler loves to start something that she can't finish, because Mercury does not play, and they will fight and risk a technical or even getting thrown out of the game. And like, Fever are not like that kind of team. So I'm like, Erica, why you starting shit? Whatever. So Natasha Cloud, Kalia Copper, Erica Wheeler, and Timmy Fagbenley all got technicals, and then they were offset each other, and so it just canceled out. And it was kind of funny. They cut to Diana Taurasi literally laughing with Caitlin Clark at the end of the court, like talking about it. It's pretty funny. In the last minute of the second quarter, Nelissa Smith does this moving screen and pushes off on her elbow into Diana's gut. It gets called for a foul, but then the refs go to review it, and they upgrade it to a flagrant one. There are so many stoppages in the play of this game that when they go into the halftime, the Lynx in the versus the Sky game had already come back from their halftime break. That's how many stoppages there were. It's crazy. During the halftime show, there was LaChina Robinson, Chiney Owumake, Carolyn Peck. Really love their analysis. I don't agree with Chiney's breakdown of the scuffle, but I do love overall what they were talking about. They did point out that Caitlin Clark is the leader in rookie passes, in terms of passes for a rookie, but she's also the leader in turnovers. So let's not forget, she had already had 5 at the half. Kelsey Mitchell didn't score her first field goal into the third quarter, and then she starts going off, unfortunately, after that. And then the Fever get their first, within the first 3 minutes, they have 3 minutes left, they start going off. Mitchell starts going off. They go on a run. They get up to like 10-point lead, but then Mercury kind of brings it down to 3 points at the end of the third quarter. Mercury go into the fourth quarter with a lead, but it's close, and it goes back and forth. Aaliyah Boston gets her 5th foul with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left and has to sit out for a while. So it's a very tight score, only a slight advantage to Mercury with 2 minutes left. Shit's getting hot. Natasha Cloud gets a flagrant one for fouling Katie Lou Samuelson when she was wasn't really going after the ball, and she kind of hit her in the head, so they gave her a flagrant one. This is literally the longest 2 minutes ever. It was really annoying. 21 seconds left. The Fever are up 1. Mercury play good defense and force them to take a timeout because they can't get the ball over the court, over the half line. Mercury end up fouling Caitlin, put her at the line. She makes both of the free throws. Mercury calls timeout to advance the ball. It's 85-82. Mercury then turn over the ball. So Brittany Griner gets the ball. Unfortunately, it bounces off of her foot and goes directly at Erica Wheeler, and she gets it. And I'm like, oh, game's over. Then Mitchell, they foul Mitchell. Mitchell goes for a free throw, makes both of them. And yeah, the game's basically over. The score was 88-82, and basically all of that happened in the last 20 seconds. Wild game. For the Mercury, Rebecca Allen had 9 points and 9 rebounds. She almost had a double-double. Brittany Griner had 24 points, of course. Diana Taurasi had 19 points. The gold mamba. Sorry, not the gold mamba, the white mamba. Jewel Lloyd is the gold mama. The white mamba, 19 points. 42 years old, 19 points. Crazy. Natasha Cloud, 15 points, 7 assists. But that was not enough. The Indiana Fever were able to outmaneuver them at the end. Nelissa Smith had 12 points, 15 rebounds for a double-double. What a great night for her. She did have 5 fouls. She was skirting there. Same with Leah Boston, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 5 personal fouls. It's okay. Kelsey Mitchell had 16 points. Timmy Fagbenley had 10 points, and then Caitlin Clark actually had a really great night. She had 15 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds. She almost had a triple-double, which would have been really exceptional. It would have made her exceptional tonight because no rookie's ever done that, but she didn't do that. So she also had 6 turnovers. So the Fever did win because Mercury basically couldn't keep their shit together. But it is what it is. This is the first of probably 3 or 4 matchups between them, so we'll see them go at each other again. All right, if you like these kind of breakdowns of the games, the recaps, please like, share, and subscribe. I like I always tell everybody after every video, I do not have my comment section on because I don't care what random strangers on the internet think about me. But if you are here every day checking out my videos, I do care about you. You're awesome, and I will see you in the next one.